Hey, and welcome to Matt and Jess TV. I am Matt Roast.
And I'm Jessica Bun Bun.
Welcome to our Pluribus Season 1, Episode 9 reaction and review. This is the big finale titled La Chica o El Mundo, and boy, do we have a lot to get into here.
Absolutely. I mean, Carol was faced with a huge decision, the girl or save the world. And I mean, while she initially picked the girl, it seems like she is back to saving the world. And the way that she's deciding to save the world, it doesn't seem like she's really going to be saving anybody here.
Yeah, this could go very, very badly.
That box. Oh my God. Watching Manuso's looking at me like, what is in that box? It is bad news.
This episode was funny at times. It was dark at other points.
Yes.
It's actually, to me, reminiscent of the series finale of The Good Place, which I really, really liked. I think they're different, but they also pose this question of what does it really mean to have everything? And then what's the cost of that? Because there's always a consequence to whatever you choose, right? This is something that Manusos was really confronting back at the hospital. And I mean, now Carol is confronting it herself in her own way, in a way that's also really, really drastic.
Yeah, because here's the thing for Carol, right? You know, she really wanted to choose the girl, but the girl is the joined. She's in there, but so are all these other people. She's not really getting what it is she thinks she's getting. She's getting something much bigger than what she actually wants. She's sort of trying to choose happiness, but the cost is huge because it's all just fake.
Yeah, and that's where things get really interesting and complicated heading into this next season. I mean, we'll talk about individuality here. We'll talk about this Carol Manusos alliance and what in the world this could mean. But, before we get into anything more here, be sure to hit that subscribe button. We have so much great stuff coming in the new year, including new season of Industry on HBO. A trailer just came out for that. We're going to be getting into A Night of the Seven Kingdoms, and then also The Pit is coming back next month as well.
Absolutely. There is a lot going on here at the channel in the new year, so hit that subscribe button and stick with us.
Thank you guys so
Thank
much for
you.
your support. All right, let's just start by getting into, Carol chooses the girl at first, and she really goes off on this big, elaborate, wonderful adventure. Her and Zosia, they see all of these beautiful places, but then the subject comes back up about whether or not Carol is eventually going to join the joined.
Absolutely. It's always going to come back to that. And I think because she really was in this false happiness, and even though she was like, I feel like I'm feeling everything I should, I feel happiness, it doesn't get better than this. And Zosia, of course, is like, oh, well, actually, wait a second, it does get better than this. The joined is better than this. And for Carol, she obviously doesn't want to become part of that. Zosia's whole purpose is to get her to come over to become part of the joined. And because they both have different motivators here, Zosia's giving her whatever she wants. They've said that a bunch of times. We will do anything that you need to make you happy. Can I have a tank? Yes. Anything you want? Yes. Okay, great. And that's what Zosia has been doing as well. And while we've got, Carol over here being like, well, I have these feelings of love. Oh, well, yeah, of course we love you. We also love Manusos as much as we love you. We love everybody the same. It's not the answers that she wants. She's starting to feel possessiveness over Zosia, even though Zosia is one of many.
Yeah, and I think she sort of convinced herself that maybe Zosia was establishing a sense of self. And I mean, this is always going to be a debate as to how much is really there. It's felt at times this season that there were maybe inklings of it, but that might have been the joined intentionally laying those out there, because the truth of the matter is, and I think this finale is a great reminder, a lot of this whole we love everybody, everybody needs to give their express consent, like a lot of it is just phony. I mean, we get into the whole thing about everybody out there who's been talking about Carol's eggs for the past several episodes. Give you guys a round of applause. You were correct. So this comes back and Zosia indicates to Carol, oh yeah, we're already doing this. You maybe have a few months. And I'm just sitting back thinking, well, that doesn't sound like a lot of consent here, Zosia. You didn't ask Carol. It's just like, so none of this other stuff really matters. There's a hierarchy when it comes to when you're actually going to listen to people and then when you are not.
Yeah, it's really hypocritical where
Mhm.
they would be just like, yes, you have to give us your consent for us to be able to take these stem cells from you to be able to do this. Oh, but your eggs over here, free game. They're outside of your body, so we can take anything we want. It's pretty much what Manuso said in the last episode. You guys have come here and stolen everything.
Yeah.
Nothing here belongs to you, but you have taken everything and you take whatever you want without any permission. And while Carol has been in this like fog of thinking that she actually has control over herself, behind the scenes, Osha's like, yeah, we've had your eggs like for quite a while now, and we're working on getting stem cells through that. So we don't actually need you for anything except to be distracted. Here, you want some more wine and cheese? Because that's what this really feels like at this point, is just distraction.
Yeah, and it's what makes the join such an interesting adversary in a way. And I'm going to call them an adversary. Like
Mhm.
they are the bad guys in this story because they're taking away a sense of self with this veneer of everybody's going to be happy. Like Walter White was a terrible person, and Walter White, he knew what he was doing was not good. I
Yeah,
think,
he said it.
yeah, what the join thinks is that what they're doing is good. And it's really, really dangerous to be confronted with a person or people who all hold it into the collective hearts that they're doing the right thing. Like they called this an imperative earlier this season, something that actually had to be done. I do legitimately believe Zosha when she says that they're doing this to help Carol because they've experienced this thing and they really do feel like everyone should feel that.
Yeah, I mean, this is the biggest, weirdest thing about it is that this whole show is really about consent in a lot of ways,
Mhm.
because this whole thing started with none kissing each other, passing this on, everybody becoming part of the joint without anybody's consent.
Yeah.
Nobody's consenting to this. And now we've got this 13 that have to give consent to give these stem cells because that's the only way they have figured out how to do it. If they had figured out another way to do it, they would have taken it without any of this consent. But now it's like, oh, it's your choice
Mhm.
because we don't have a choice to steal it from you. So the fact that they would actually go to this length to take her embryos and decide that they are going to do whatever they want with it, I mean, you really look back, you're saying adversary, absolutely. They are taking things that don't belong to them. They are taking away
Yeah.
people's individuality. They are taking away people's choice.
Yeah.
They are eating people. They are taking Carol's embryos. This is like, it's all crossing the line in such a really grim way that it's interesting to me that it only took these like 9 episodes for Carol to go from not trusting them to just a couple of episodes where she's like, you know what? I'm all in on you. You know, you and me, Zosha, I'm just going to put on blinders because she got so broken with loneliness. And she just decided to look away from everything else that they are doing. That is so grim.
Yeah, and all of this does circle back to, that big question, and I don't know whether or not Pluribus is ever going to answer it, of who would ever create such a thing. And I know we've had little signals on it. We've talked about the RNA, we've talked about, possible aliens, is it just humans? But it just feels like, and I've played at least a few Japanese role-playing games where this is mapped out, where you have somebody at the center of all of this, this is for all you Persona 5 Royal fans, who's just like a big nefarious person who has endured something really, really terrible in their life. And they legitimately feel like everyone needs to be happy so that nobody ever has to experience what I've gone through. And like, there is a part of me that thinks that that may be at the center of what's going on here, of somebody who has just incurred such unhappiness that they're wanting to project this onto everyone else. And I think that would be fascinating to explore, but it feels like for now, the show is more about Carol's up against something right now that's really severe, really drastic. She doesn't know how to undo it. She doesn't really know the origins of it, but she can't really focus on that. She just has to focus on like what's right in front of her.
Well, it's also the story of world peace, right? I mean, we're all out here being like, oh, we all want to get along. Oh, we all want, world peace where everybody is feeling good and feeling happy. And here we are, we have this show where it's like, okay, they're going to figure that out.
Yeah.
World peace. But what is the cost of that? Well, the cost is your individuality. You don't have that anymore. But world peace,
Yeah.
everybody's at peace for 10 years or so before all the food runs out, right? Like,
Yes.
this is really a death sentence.
It really is. And that's like the other hypocrisy of all of this, that, oh, everyone's happy, but everyone's only going to be happy most likely for a limited amount of time. Right. And then we're just going to use our new antenna that we're building, that we're going to go and take over another group of aliens. And then they can have, 10 years or however long you're talking about here until they're all probably gone as well.
Okay, let's talk about this radio frequency that Manousos had figured out before he came to be Carol's next door neighbor.
Yeah.
And is bringing in people being like, bring me over another one. And he's got this radio frequency like on this guy's chest and really trying to like call out to the individual that is inside to see if he can bring that person out. It feels like Manousos really truly does want to save the world. He wants to actually bring people back. It's not just about like, you know what, we'll just wipe out everybody but the 13 and then we'll all be fine. It's really, is there a way to pull somebody back out again? And he's trying to use this radio frequency.
It's very ironic and darkly funny at times that the most nefarious characters on this show come across as very benign. And one of the ultimate heroes of this show is this terrifying man who has just come from another country up here.
I love Manousos so much.
He is so intense. I would be so terrified.
Somebody in the comments was like, he's such a G, and I totally agree.
He is I don't know this actor very well, but this actor is really, really good.
Yeah.
Like, he is projecting all of this emotion into this guy. But yeah, he's clearly gone through a lot in his life that he feels like, I don't trust anybody. I have no reason to trust these people. There's sort of this classic Lost thing going on where, are you a man of science? Are you a man of faith? Where I feel like Carol has tried to go down this, is there a human connection way to get somebody out of the joint? I'm falling for Zosia. Maybe the real Zosia is falling for me. She's using first person. Manousos is just saying, I ain't about that life. Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to use these frequencies that we saw him researching from his very first appearance on this show. I'm going to hardwire a way that I can get through to these people. And I guess from a science fiction-y perspective, it makes a little bit of sense to be like, okay, if this is some sort of signal that's causing all these people to act like this, like, why wouldn't there be a signal that could potentially turn them back?
Absolutely. I mean, he really wants to find a way to make this happen. And I'm glad to finally have Carol back on this, because the minute that there was that sort of like realization where Zosia's like, oh yeah, we already have your embryos. We've already been working on that. You got a couple of months. You could see it reading all over Carol's face where she was just like, cool, I've been had, and I've been distracted and had by the joined, keeping me busy over here, thinking that I actually had a chance to dig through, find Zosia by asking things like, what was Zosia's favorite food? What does Zosia like with this? They have those answers, but Zosia right now feels lost. Where over here with Manousos, it's possible that this radio frequency is nothing, but it's possible that it's something and that it could really dig in to pull that person actually out. Because as much as I want love to conquer all, where love is going to be the thing that Carol puts into Zosia to get the real Zosia out, that isn't working out the way that I hoped.
Well, here's the thing. I'm not going to rule that out forever. I still think
not forever, but right now it's not coming out.
No, it is not. I still hope that maybe someday we'll get there. Maybe someday we'll get there with Manousos. It could be a combination of the two. Like, I think that's still what's really interesting about this show, is that there still are all these different possibilities that are in the works. Now, I can already visualize it in my head already that there's going to be some people like typing away after this finale and sort of saying, what was the point of all of this season? Because Carol went through all of this to basically be back where she started, which was, I don't trust the joined. I want to find a way to get rid of them. And to me, it really comes down to that human element where, I think you do want to believe that love conquers all. You do want to believe that there is going to be a human way in order to stop this. And I think she had to go through this process of exhausting all of these options, seeing what was there, what wasn't there, because she didn't want to take that hard line of an approach, because we saw what happened when a lot of lives were lost earlier this season just by accident. Like, she didn't want to think, I have to go this direction,
Mhm.
but she's gone through this journey now and she's realizing I don't really have a choice. Now I have to partner with this guy who has no chill whatsoever, who is getting rid of my phone, who is making me stand under the umbrella in the middle of nowhere.
Well, here's the thing about Manusos too, is that he hasn't had as much connection with the joined. He's kept everybody at arm's length. So he actually doesn't have a lot of information. He's only now
Yeah.
gathering information. He has the couple of tapes that Carol sent out, but Carol has a lot of information because she has spent this time with Zosia. And while Carol might be like, oh man, I was played. You guys were distracting me while over here you were doing this with my embryos. Cool. I'm a clown. I'm just going to go back. And that's the end of everything. I think that she did end up getting a lot of information. We saw it
Yes.
in the last episode too with her whiteboard where she was asking specific questions, timing different things. Oh, if I mention this, how long is it going to be until the train horn goes? Let me see how long it takes Zosia to connect with everyone else to make something happen. Like,
Yeah.
there are little things that add up to bigger things that once she finds out more about the radio frequency and what's going on over here with Manusos, that some of those like spaces will be filled in.
Yeah, and I just think the partnership of these two characters moving into next season is going to be so insanely fun to watch, because
Yes.
we're going to get, I think, a little bit of good cop, bad cop going on here, where we already know how Manusos wants to go about things. And yes, Carol does have that gift in a box that she received. And I don't think she wants to go there just yet, but it's almost her saying directly to the joined, you guys have messed with me. And because you guys have messed with me, I'm going to take this and it will be right in my possession. And if you guys go to any other extreme at this point, I could do something with it. Now, will the joined really do anything as a result of that? That's a different question entirely.
Yeah, it mostly feels like that's just there as a threat to be like, if you guys do this, I'm going to do this. But for the joint, it doesn't matter because the minute that they're able to pull something that's a stem cell, Carol doesn't exist anymore. So it doesn't matter what she has in this box at all. But I do think going into next season, Carol Manusos are going to see that they're a lot more similar than they think they are. I mean, the lengths that Carol went to before she started to fall for Zosia. I mean, she drugged her to try to be able to get information. That's not cool. And then you've got Manusos over here using this radio frequency. All of a sudden, Carol's like the moral authority on this to be
Yeah.
like, hey, this isn't okay. It's like, Carol, it wasn't okay when you were doing things to Zosia either. You never apologized. You just got into a relationship with her. Everything is fine. No problem. You guys both are willing to do these really difficult, kind of grimy things
Yeah.
to get answers to be able to save people.
Okay, I've got some questions. Some of them may be ridiculous, but I'm going to ask them anyway. Okay, question number one. Can you go to the joint and be like, all right, you guys have my eggs and I know you're working on them. Can you tell me where that is? And the joint might say no, or they might not say anything because sometimes they've done something like that. Can you do some roundabout questioning? Can you sort of say something like that?
I was actually wondering why she couldn't just say, bring me my eggs, period. Because, or bring me my eggs, it will be the thing that makes me happy. Because they already set out in another episode, what if I want a tank?
Yeah.
Yes. What if I want this thing that's in a box? And we won't feel great about it, but we're going to give it to you. And they just showed at the end of this, here it is. It's on her doorstep. She can ask for whatever she wants and they will give it to her. So why didn't she just ask for this? They can't say no. That's part of what's been set up with this show. They cannot say no. They can try to talk their way out of it,
Yeah.
but the ultimate answer is yes. So why didn't she ask for them back?
Yeah, I hope she does at the start of season two, or at least we get some sort of further explanation on all of this. Because, on paper, there's this exciting premise for next season where all of a sudden Carol now has a ticking clock, where there is only so much time she's going to be able to work
Yep.
before she becomes one of the joined. But then, ergo, the follow up that goes with that is, all right, if you want to do a Pluribus season 3, season 4, is this all going to be set within a matter of months? Or is this next season going to be about, all right, even if they don't give her eggs, is she going to be able to track them down and put a stop to this? And then we're sort of going back to some other status quo.
What I was kind of wondering is because it feels to me like we had the clock that was ticking down until everyone's joined. Now
Yes.
the clock is ticking back up again. And I feel like it's going to tick up to the exact same spot that we started at the show. And that's going to be the end of the imperative, where if they don't actually do what they're set out to do, which is change these 13 people over, they all die. So there was part of me that was kind of wondering if Zosia was really trying to play up Carol to get her to either convince the other people to join, or because Carol is not one of the joined,
Mhm.
she is able to kill the other people, something that the joined cannot do. Because if those other people are not around, they don't actually have to bring them over and they reach their imperative.
I think, well, you've been on something with this clock from the very beginning, and it just feels like we continue to see this clock for a very specific reason. Even it's not just a gimmick for the show to have the
I
past.
hope not. I hope it's
No,
deeper than that. And it's Vince, so it's got to be
yeah,
deeper
I
than
think
that.
because it's Vince, it has to be really deeper than that. Now, there are a couple of other people who are not joined that I want to spend a moment talking
Hmm.
about. And the first is Kumba. So, moving into the
Hmm.
next season now, we know that he has wanted to bury his head in the sand and sort of say,
Yes.
I'm living the life. My life wasn't that great beforehand, but I think he has justified it all in his head with that idea of consent that, if they want to turn him, they still need his consent in order to do so. I am wondering now, can Carol go to him with this information about her eggs? And is this actually going to be the one thing that will cause him to sort of turn around? Because just having her and Manusos moving forward, that's not a lot of a team, but we know that Kumba has some qualities that are not desirable, but he also has some other qualities that may actually be good if this duo wants to become, I don't know, a 3-person group.
Right.
All right, the one beef I have with this
Oh,
finale,
all right. My beef hat's on. Let's go.
did we really need the first few minutes of it? And that pains me to say it. I think it was really beautifully shot. I appreciate us getting more of the world, but I do think at the same time, we kind of already knew everything about what the joint was capable of and how they can turn other people.
Well, here's the thing. I think that it was important for us to see that the joined are able to manipulate people into giving up their individuality to become part of something, missing their family, missing their child, wanting their parents, their loved one, their partner, whatever, to play on those emotions, to be like, you can be with them forever in here, but without you being in here, you've lost them. And to show that one of the 13 actually is like, okay, I'm ready. I'm willing to do this. Yes, I know that, I'm basically signing a waiver that I might die doing this or whatever, but I'm willing to take the chance to be able to be part of all of this. That poor little goat. Oh my
I
God, his little
know.
broken heart being like, don't
Oh.
leave me. No, I think it was important that we saw it.
I think it was. Okay, no, I
It
thought.
just feels important because they are showing how manipulative the joined
No, it's
really
true.
are, that they can actually convince somebody to give up themselves to be part of a collective. Like, that's a big ask. You got to really be putting in work, and we saw the work. They
Yeah.
recreated the whole village, brought in all that everything to make it so that she would give herself up. It was really dark.
Okay, yeah, you've convinced me. No,
No, it's
no,
okay
it
if
was.
you
No,
don't
you
agree,
have.
but I felt like it watching it, I felt like this darkness creeping in, especially as soon as she turned and they all just like packed up and left. I was like, ooh,
Okay, yeah,
blah, it was
that
awful.
part is true. No,
Yeah, it was really sad.
the last thing I will say here is just, and this is all dependent on how long this show lasts, but it almost feels like season 1, it's had a lot of praise, it's had some mixed reactions. I wonder when the dust settles if we'll actually look at this as just a prequel to almost everything else that's coming now. It's sort of like Sweet Pea, the star show with Ella Purnell, where it felt like that whole season was getting to this point where basically all bets were off at the end of the finale.
That was such a fun show, though.
It's a really fun show. I love that show. I hope it comes back really soon. But it just feels like this whole season was about Carol getting to this point where now she's going to do whatever it takes. And now all bets are off with her as well. I hope that we do have many more years of this. Like, I am certainly not bored coming out of the finale.
No, I really can't wait for the show to come back. And, you know, we know that it's renewed already. Just don't take 3 years.
Please don't do Severance. Like, who knows
Oh
when
my
more Severance is
goodness.
going to be
Yeah,
coming.
no.
But that is where we are coming out of Pluribus Season 1, Episode 9. Let us know in the comments, what did you guys think about this finale? What do you want to see moving forward? And be sure to hit that subscribe button because, yeah, we do have so much other really fun coverage heading up in the new year.
Absolutely.
Thank you guys so much for your support. We really appreciate it, and we'll see you here next time.